right after John, we'll look at Marilyn.
Okay, thank you. I'm here as president of SPEAR and also as just on my own behalf. Last week there was a news story on the PBS NewsHour starring Commissioner Lyman.
I saw that.
I had a very brief appearance there, one sentence, but the thing that caught my attention was the comments of
they interviewed me for like 2 hours, and they took a couple of sentences. They got one sentence from John, and it was the highlight of the show. That shows.
But the comments from the spokesman for the state office of the BLM, and her name was Megan Crandall, and she was responding to a question from the reporter. His question was, well, one of the things we hear from people is just this frustration with process, heavy-handedness, lack of engagement, referring to the actions of the BLM. Her response was, well, first of all, and she kind of responded lightheartedly. She kind of laughed a little bit and said, well, first of all, I have to say BLM Utah is not heavy-handed. And then she says,
Is not what?
Heavy-handed.
Oh.
One of the things that a lot of people don't realize is that here in San Juan County on BLM land, there's 2,800 miles of trails that are open to motorized recreation, which is about the distance between New York and LA. That's a lot of trail. There's two issues I have with her comments, and my reason for being here is to ask that the Commission perhaps consider writing a letter to the state office of the BLM to address these two issues. The first is that a lighthearted response, just offhandedly and lightheartedly denying that the BLM Utah is not heavy-handed, flies in the face of what we've seen in San Juan County, especially the artifact raid involving well over 100 federal agents and resulting in the ultimate suicide of 3 people. That was heavy-handed. And that's not the only heavy-handed action that has been taken by the BLM Utah and their law enforcement arm. But I think this idea that she was putting out there, which I think it permeates a lot of what the BLM says and does, needs to be rebutted. One, the BLM is not heavy-handed. The other issue that I think needs to be responded to is this thing she said. A lot of people don't realize that there's 2,800 miles of trails, ATV trails. This is parodying the position of the radical environmental groups who often say the same thing. There's 2,800 miles of ATV trails in San Juan County. Why do we need more? Well, you know, when we're not really asking for much, but just a few little linkages in that. And this BLM spokesman was parodying that same line. Those are roads, they're not trails. There's 2,800 miles of roads. Many of those roads wouldn't under no stretch be considered ATV trails. Some of them are paved. A lot of them are maintained county roads they're just roads. And I noticed I went to the BLM website and looked under the Monticello office where they were dealing with or discussing their travel plan, and once again, they referred to 2,800 miles of ATV trails, even though in their RMP it says that down the line, not currently, but down the line, there's going to be some special designations of various types of trails, ATV trails, motorcycle trails, hiking trails, and so on. In their current travel management plan, it's just all roads. And then I found a press release from Juan Palma, the state director of the BLM. This is called BLM Utah Press Statement Regarding Illegal ATV Use in Recapture Canyon. And he once again in his press release says there are more than 2,800 miles of trails open to ATV use on public lands. Nowhere in this press release, or hardly on their website, does it say roads. You know, these are roads. These are not ATV trails. And I think it paints a misleading picture about motorized recreation on those trails. the subset of the roads that are viewed as ATV, or that we view as ATV trails. So I guess my point is, I'd just like you to consider perhaps developing and sending a letter to Mr. Palma. Maybe it could be copied to our local BLM managers, and perhaps copied to our congressman and the governor's office. But because those are two issues that we need to, in my view, respond to. Anyway, that was my.
Very, very well said, John. Thanks.
Thank you.